This is episode number 56 at the BS Machine. Welcome back, guys. Honor to be here with you once again. I'm your host, Tommy Kendi. The claps and the cheers and the cheers and the claps. Here again with you this week. So, cool week this week, and I've actually had a really good week, and yeah, I mean, out of the last 7 days, I reckon most of the last 7 days have been pretty epic for me, and I've really enjoyed it. Lots of things sort of unfolding in my life, which is really cool, and so I reckon it might be the same case for you guys that are listening, that you're seeing certain things unfold, and it's feeling good. And for me, just a quick one on the last podcast when I had Dr. A on, just a really quick recap on that. I actually had quite a bit of feedback on that episode from a number of people, and there was a number of people that actually got really triggered by that podcast last week. And not because of the contents of the podcast, but I've had a few people say to me that I wasn't really honest in the way that I delivered that podcast. And that sort of pissed me off, because my whole intention behind that podcast was to keep it mutual. And I didn't want to sort of litter my belief systems throughout that podcast. And there was quite a few people that said that I didn't really own my stance on the subject. And you know what, I mean, everyone's entitled to their own views, but yeah, I mean, look, at the end of the day, my intention for that podcast last week with Dr. A was to really sit in nowhere land, and you know what, that could be a thing of mine that's a dysfunction, who knows, but I didn't really want to push much out there about the subject, because I didn't want to talk about my views. I just actually want to listen to someone that knows what's actually going on, and super intelligent guy. So if you haven't heard it yet, go have a listen to the previous podcast, because there was definitely a few things in there which really opened up my ears and my eyes, and I was very, very honoured to have such a epic and smart and intelligent doctor on the podcast to talk about what's sort of going on. But that's all I will say about that. If you want to hear more, have a listen to the previous podcast. Now, moving forward, on this podcast, there's been a lot of things that have sort of come up for me over the last week or so around just being a fucking man, like being a dude. And I really did do some introspection and some reflection on how I am as a man, and I really wanted to take a dive into the things that I do really fucking well, and some of the things that I don't do well, and so through that introspection and through that reflection, I was able to really come up with some, I guess, key points that I aspire to be, and every man should aspire to be as well. So the purpose and the intention of this podcast today, episode number 56, is basically the skills that every man, every dude needs to have, and so it's a great insight into men, because men are, a lot of people say men are quite simple creatures, but I just don't believe that that's true. I mean, I believe men can be very simple creatures, but there is a certain amount of things that we as dudes, we really do need to take ownership of, and we need to take responsibility for. And so you can't really just sit back and say, I'm a dude, I'm a man, so I can't do those things, or that's just not how I am. And so that's really the purpose behind this podcast. And it's I know that it's going to be a pretty powerful podcast. And you know what? You're lucky that you get to sort of sit at home listen to this from the comfort of your own ears and your own home and whatnot, because there might be a few things in here that you hear that that you don't do, and or there might be a few things in here that you do. So I think it's great, but I think it's definitely a good idea for us to all learn about how we are as men. And even if you're a woman, a lady, this could be a really powerful podcast for you to listen to see, I guess, from a man's point of view, that the different skill sets that men actually need to have to enjoy a fucking epic life and to step into their true greatness. And so one of the first things that I believe men definitely need to have in terms of a skill is to be able to step into the line of fire. And one of my best mates is so fucking good at this. He never was good at this, but I've really seen a number of experiences with him, and I've really noticed a number of things with him where he's been able to step into the line of fire from a really powerful place. And I've really honoured that, and I don't even think I've said anything to him about it, but I've really seen that from the outside looking in. I'm like, fuck, that is super powerful, and so I think it's really important for us men to learn that, and just by observing his actions, by being able to step into the line of fire, it sort of mirrored a few things back to me where I haven't done that in my life. And what I mean about stepping into the line of fire is having this courage to call things for what they are, regardless of the external circumstances, and being able to step into the line of fire knowing that you are powerful enough and strong enough to hold space for every single person involved, whether that's just yourself, or whether there might be a relationship or a partnership that's involved in it as well. And there could be, kids involved or whatever else around that. And to be able to, step in and be honest and to really front up with what's actually going on is a very powerful but fucking scary thing to do. And what you will find is that when you, as a man, have the courage to step into the line of fire by being strong and sitting in your masculine and being fucking powerful, then what you'll find happens is things will really shift on a huge level, and they will really open up, not just for you but for other people as well. And I'm just using this as an example, but without even him knowing, by me just observing him stepping into a really uncomfortable situation, it's mirrored to me certain things that I haven't done in my life in terms of stepping into really uncomfortable situations and fucking owning it. And so you don't realize the impact that you're going to have on other men just by being able to courageously step into the line of fire. And with this, let me expand on this even more. Basically, the line of fire is any conversation, any situation, any financial decision, any sort of opportunity to do what you want to do and to be who you want to be in your absolute truth, and going through the process of that, regardless of all your fears and all the things you fear you might lose, to have the courage to go, nah, I'm going in, I'm fucking stepping in, because I'm being guided, like the inner guidance is pushing me to move forward in this manner. And so you always have to really have this level of honesty, first off with yourself. And then secondly, you also have to have this honesty about your fucking feelings. What a lot of men do these days is they hold their feelings back and they hide their feelings because there is this fear. And for example, with me, I'm using myself as an example. in situations where I feel like I have to hold back my feelings and hold back my emotions, and look, it sounds it sounds a little bit general, doesn't it? It's like, just talk about your feelings. That's not what this is about. It's about honoring your emotions and being able to honor your feelings. And for me, what I do when I'm not being honest about my emotions and my feelings is that I have this fear that if I let these emotions come to the surface or these feelings come to the surface, then there's this fear that I'm gonna fucking break down in tears, and that's a scary thing to do for a man, especially when you're around other people. That is fucking scary to be able to bring your emotions and the feelings to the surface, so much so that you can actually end up losing the plot. And so with that, it's scary, and a lot of men really hold back on that and don't allow themselves to honor and to communicate their emotions and their feelings. And you know what, a great place to do this is in your relationships, whether it's friendships or intimate relationships, or even parental relationships with your kids, or with your mum or your dad. And so it's a scary one, but it's this ability to first step into the line of fire, and then second to have this courage to be totally open and honest about the emotions that are coming up, and to really be honest about your feelings. And I feel like I reckon a great way to begin communicating that is that if you're feeling quite vulnerable in terms of communicating your emotions, if you could even communicate it by bringing it to the surface straight away. And you could say, if you are going to communicate them to someone or honor them to yourself, by beginning the sentence by saying, do you know what, this is actually really hard for me to talk about, and there's a fear that that what I'm going to say is either not going to come out right, or it's just going to come out too much, and I might totally fucking break down. And having the courage to begin a conversation that way is very powerful, and the person on the other end they will automatically step into their fucking heart. And then to move past that in terms of your emotions and feelings for men, fuck man, powerful. Because what happens afterwards, if you can communicate with such a level of honesty and to be able to really open up to yourself first off, that is number one, to yourself. I mean, the amount of times I've had situations where I've been at home on my own, and I've really been able to dive into some of the emotions coming up for me, and I'll be in fucking fetal pose in my lounge room or in my study, and having a good fucking cry. And that is scary, because you don't know how deep that's going to go, and you don't know how long it's going to go for. But that is super scary. It's fucking scary. But when you do that afterwards, you feel like 10 fucking tons have been lifted off you. You feel like such a weight, such a burden has been lifted off you, and you can go out into the world being who you really are. And that's the thing with men. They so often just hold back. They fucking hold back because they feel like they have to have their shit together. They have to have their shit together for them, for their family. And they fear that fucking anger or that sadness or that feeling of helplessness that's going to come to the surface. But guys, trust me, from someone that has been there many times, and it is a gift that I have, where I'm very in touch with my emotions, and I've never ever had the trouble of stepping into that fucking fear of all of it coming out. I've been very, very good with that. But on the other side, when you're able to do that, especially the first time, it is such a gift afterwards, such a gift. And then I guess to move on from that, there's also Men have this thing of constantly trying to fix everything. So, once again, relationships are a perfect, but intimate relationships are a perfect example, because and even at work, work relationships, but but I'm just going to use relationships now. When you hear your partner, your woman, or if you're in a same-sex type relationship, you hear your partner talking about things that they're fucking pissed off about, and they're going off tap, and they're just like, losing their mind. You need to learn, you as in men, as in the masculine, we need to learn how to shut the fuck up. Like, literally shut the fuck up. Do not say fucking anything. Just shut the fuck up. Don't go into, yeah, but you're like this, and if you weren't like that, shut the fuck up. Like, literally listen. Learn how to listen. And even in those moments when you want to fire the fuck up and go back at your partner, or if it's a work relationship, go back at that person and show your worth and prove your fucking manliness. Shut the fuck up. Do not fucking talk. And every single moment where you feel like you need to arc up and talk back or fix or whatever the fuck else, just shut the fuck up and learn how to be in silence. Learn how powerful the tension of silence is. When you can listen to someone, like really listen to someone when they're talking, like active, intuitive listening, and literally put a fucking lock on your mouth. Don't fucking talk. Just let the other person get everything out. And then after they stop talking, you stay fucking quiet for at least 4 or 5 seconds. That silence will give you some of the most valuable lessons you will ever get. Because when you can be in silence, when you can listen and be and know what to do in that silence, and that's the thing, you're not going to know what to do, but after that 4 or 5 seconds of silence, you'll be like, fucking hell, wow, like this is cool, I know exactly what to say. You will read your partner, or you will read the situation, and the words will perfectly just flow out of your mouth. So stop trying to fucking fix everything. Just learn how to listen, shut the fuck up, and stop trying to fix everything. Very, very, very invaluable gift that you can you can have, and you can start learning. And then to move on from that too, guys, it's I talked about to be able to fucking cry. Like I talked about that before when I was in fetal pose or whatever. And I reckon it happens maybe once or twice a year, and it needs to happen because the amount of build up that men take on. And look, this is not just men. This is women as well, or feminine, masculine, whatever you want to call it. But especially men, we hold on to so much fucking shit because there's stuff coming from the outside. We've got mates that are telling us how to live our life. We have families, we have our partner, we have everyone coming and going, you should be doing it like this, you're doing it all fucking wrong, the things you're saying are not right, you're doing it wrong, this is how you should be more like this guy, that guy. And then on top of that, you've got yourself judging yourself against all the fucking other people in the world who are making more money, who are better than you, who are fucking luckier, and people that just, have shit going on, and they have this and have that, and you're just not there. But that is fucking EBS. Fuck it off. Like, who cares? Like, it's got nothing to do with everyone else. I've mentioned it on another podcast. There is no one else in the fucking world like you. Like, literally no one else in the world ever, in the 7.5 or 8 billion people that live in the world now. There's no one else like you. Like, literally not one other fucking person. There might be people that are similar, but no one is like you. So that means two things. One, if someone else is telling you how to live your life, they have no fucking idea. Like, They don't know. Like, you're the only one that knows. Of course, there's things you can learn. You can get the help of a coach, or you can get the help of people that you really look up to. Like, for example, me and my best mate. Like, I really honor him, and he knows me so fucking well. And I trust when he talks to me and tells me stuff, it's from the bottom of his heart. And 90% of the time, he does give me stuff that I value and honor. He really does. And the other 10% of the time, it's a crock of shit. And even though he's all passionate about it, I know it's not right for me, so I don't fucking do it. And it's just simple. It's like same with parents, like, and especially now, guys, like, stand your fucking ground and know that it's okay to just be yourself, and you know intuitively what's fucking right for you. So this ability to be to let your emotions out. Sorry, I went off on a bit of a tangent just then, because I'm so passionate about this, not just for myself but for other men out there as well. You need to this thing, like, just fucking cry, like to come find a way to release and cry, whether it's through breath work, whatever it's going to be. But when you feel that you've got emotions and shit coming up, let them come up. But not just the cry bit. This is the other important bit. Men have to learn how to be still. You have to find at least 5 or 10 minutes a day when you're fucking still. There's no phones. There's nothing. There's no conversation. There's nothing. There's no anything. It's just stillness. It's just you. It's just you being with you. Whether it's a journaling exercise, whether it's you, I don't know, automatic writing, whether it's you, I don't know, just sitting down and meditating, whatever the fuck it is, just 5 or 10 minutes of stillness. It is so important when you can give yourself this gift. I mean, a lot of you do know my backstory, but when I was living in Los Angeles and I was in the band and I started practicing Kundalini yoga and all that. I mean, I'm not going to go into the whole story, because if you want to hear it, then go back and listen to it in one of the previous episodes. But I think the episode, if you want to have a listen to my story, is the yoga and the whatever it is. It's something about yoga. It's definitely got the unspoken yogi or something like that. It's somewhere around episode 20s or 10s or 30s. I can't remember, but it's got yoga in it. So anyway, so when I first started, practicing Kundalini yoga, living in Los Angeles, in the heart of the music world and whatever. And I was basically going to North Hollywood Park, sitting under a tree and being still this was at 4:30 in the morning, every fucking morning for 181 days. Every morning I went to North Hollywood Park and I was still. And I forced myself to be still. And then I did some yoga, I did some meditation, blah, 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 blah. But basically between 4:30 and 6:30 every morning, I was doing yoga, I was being still, I was meditating, and I was chanting all these fucked up mantras. And it was unbelievable, transformed my whole entire life. But just out of that, even if you just spend 5 or 10 minutes a day being totally still, just by being fucking still, so powerful. And then through that, what you will find is that you'll have this ability to release. When you're still, tension builds up, and when tension builds up, it releases out of the body. So you have to find a way to be still so that tension within you can rise up. It usually comes up through the heart and then through to the throat, and you feel this tension in your throat, and then it starts to release. It starts to release out of your head, out of breath, out of, you can even sometimes feel it coming out, this tension through the space between the eyebrows, through your, the yogis or the spiritual people call it the third eye center. And so all this stuff is actually physical. And so, you have to learn, you have to find ways of releasing all your shit and be fucking still. Yeah. All right. So let's just leave all that where it is. And one of the other things with men is around sex, around this this whole thing around sex and around the way you fuck your partner and the way that you fuck another woman or fuck your partner, whatever. If you're in same-sex marriage or whatever it is that you're in, it's awesome. Like the feeling's the same. Well, sorry, the feeling's not the same, but the actual motions of it is the same. So it's like with sex, and look, I'm definitely no expert in this. I'm still going through my journey of sex and learning more about myself and learning how to have more connected sex, which I'm definitely working on myself, because it's something that really interests me to see how different sex can be when you make connection the forefront, not coming or not just banging a bird or just fucking your partner for whatever 3-4 times a week or whatever it is. It's like, I just recommend we need to stop being fucking rooters. We need to just stop fucking for the sake of fucking. And even on that note, before even that, which I should have mentioned beforehand, is a really cool exercise men can do is to stop fucking watching porn. I still, look, to be honest, I still watch porn, I reckon once every maybe a month or two. I'll just be super fucking toey and I'll bring up a porn site and I'll just knock one out. And it feels good sometimes just to knock one out. But I also guess I'm lucky at the moment because I'm in a relationship and, if I'm horny, I just fucking get laid. But even before I was in this relationship, it's like, stop watching porn. And if you want to take it even further, do an exercise, which I did. One of my other mates did this I think he did it for like 6 months, where he didn't wank for 6 months. Like that's big. I don't reckon I could do 6 months, but I definitely reckon I could do a month of no wanking. And I actually did do a month of no wanking. This was about maybe about a year ago. I did a month of no wanking, nothing. There was just no porn, no wanking, nothing. And I actually found it quite easy. What I did find is that I had so much more energy, and that sexual energy that builds up in men, where you're just like, all right, I've got a hard on, it to fucking knock it out. Just notice what would happen if you let that energy build up. And what I found in that month of no wanking is that the energy that built up, I actually used it for creativity. So I found I was way more creative in that time, and it felt really, really good. So, and it also leads you into this thing. Well, actually, you know what? I'm not going to go further yet, but yeah. So around sex and just stop being a fucking rooter, and see how you go. Stop watching porn and do, maybe even if it's a week, but try doing a month of no wanking. And notice, one, if you're in a relationship, notice how that changes your relationship. And notice if you're not watching porn, notice how that changes. And I feel, I know there's I've got clients that have been totally addicted to porn before, and I've heard them, talk about that sort of stuff. And I've been in times in my life where, I was knocking one out for porn every single day. But I don't know if I was addicted. I guess I just stopped doing it because I was just like, whatever. So I don't know if I'm lucky, unlucky, or whatever, but I've never been addicted to porn or wanking or anything like that. But I know there's men out there that are, because I've experienced them within my coaching sessions and coaching space. And so a really good way, and I'm not talking about the addicted ones, I was just using that as an example, but in terms of sex, if you're in a relationship or you've got someone that you can fucking fuck, or you got someone that you can practice this with, really see if you can go into this energy of connecting more. Find ways to connect and use the dick in vagina as either a last, not a last resort, but the final thing to your connection, or maybe even with your partner, choose a week or even a couple of weeks where there's not going to be dick and vagina. All you're going to do is each time you feel, or there's a feeling of horniness, or you're getting quite randy and horny, see if you can just bring that back in to touching, massaging, getting some baby oil, tickling, kissing, and see how that level of connection builds up in both of you. I think it's quite powerful, and I'm looking into that sort of work now, and luckily I've got a partner that's very open to exploring those type of things. So I'm super excited to dive into that if you're listening, honey. But moving on, look, in terms of men, this whole thing of being rigid, a lot of men are quite rigid. We need to learn how to be fluid and how to move with things, and this sort of leads into everything we're talking about by stepping into the line of fire, being honest about our emotions and our feelings, to be able to listen, shut the fuck up, stop fixing everything, to fucking cry, do that thing, cry and be still, learning how to be still, releasing all your stuff by stopping being a fucking rooter and getting rid of porn and maybe even no wanking, to connecting to your partner, whatever it is. And then this all leads to us men being fluid and being powerful. Women are so good at being fluid. They just sort of move with what's going on. It's like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah, that's happening now. That's happening now. Let's go with that. Let's go with this. Most women anyway. And men need to learn how to be more like that, where you don't have to stand rigid and firm in your thing, and it's like, this is me and I'm a fucking man. Fuck that, dude. Listen, learn how to be fluid, learn how to move. And once you start to connect into your emotions, you'll find that this is like really an organic way of moving with fucking life. It's so powerful. And then the next three things are basically the most important things, I believe, about combining all this stuff into a physical practice. And now I'm going to harp on to you. And ladies, if you're listening and you're single and you find a man that does yoga, that does breathing exercises, you're onto a fucking good thing. I promise you're onto a good thing. I have not to this day. I mean, I've met some, dudes that are into yoga and breathing and all that type of stuff, and they still have a fucking ego and they're still all that. But I'm telling you, well, fuck it, who am I? I'm telling you, who the fuck am I? I'm no guru. I'm no wisdom head. Like, who am I to go, I'm telling you? That's so fucking arrogant. I'd like to apologize. So with men, if you have a yoga practice, if you have a practice of breathing, your whole life will become so much fucking easier, because all these things I've talked about just now, yoga incorporates all those things. And a lot of people think that yoga is just like, getting on the mat and stretching. It's so much more than stretching. Yoga is not stretching. Yoga, it touches all the bits in the body, especially for men, where we hold on to all our fucking shit. So physically, yoga actually gets into like even the hamstrings. Like, a lot of guys have got such tight hamstrings. Do you realize the emotions that you're holding on to in your fucking hamstrings? Do you realize that when through yoga over a couple of months, 3, 6 months, a year, 6 years of practice, do you realize that as you start to release your hamstrings, how much your life will open up, how much fluidity will come in for you? You don't know until you know. What's that saying? What you don't know, you know. Or maybe it's the other way around. What you know, you don't know. Whatever it is, but you know what it is. So yoga, it's like start practicing yoga, whether you're 20, whether you're 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, fucking 80, even 90, start practicing yoga. I mean, if I've got 90-year-old listeners, I'll be fucking so excited. If I do, can you please hit me up? Because I'd love to chat to you. But yeah, if you, just however old you are, it's never fucking too late. Just fucking buy a mat, get a yoga program online, or if you're too scared to go to a yoga class, whatever, just fucking start yoga. Please, please, please. I can't tell you enough how much it's changed my life, but also with other men that I know, how much it's impacted their life. Unbelievable. Next to yoga. Well, obviously breathing is part of yoga, but if you can access a daily breathing exercise, if you can attach to your day a 10 or 15 minute breathing exercise, like just fucking do it. Breathing and learning how to breathe and doing breathing exercises. Oh, I don't know what to do. Fuck off. Like, go to Google right now and literally put into YouTube breathing exercises. Put the video on and fucking do it. If you want a list, I mean, look at Wim Hof. You know, it takes. If you do a Wim Hof, just Google Wim Hof method, WIMHOF method. Do that for the next year, every fucking day. It takes 15 minutes a day. Fucking do it. You know, that's it. It's like, yeah, but I don't know. I don't have money for a course. What course? Like, fuck off. Like, seriously, go to Google, either put in breathing exercise, put in and then push play, or put in Wim Hof and push play. For men, Wim Hof is a very, very powerful and unbelievable way of breathing. If you can try for 1 week, do a Wim Hof thing from start to finish, should take you about 15 or 18 minutes. Just fucking do it and get it done. That's it. Cool. So you got yoga, you add it in, you add breathing in. You don't have to do yoga every day, definitely, but you know, do it 3-4 times a week. Start it off, do a 15-minute class, then a 20-minute class, then a half-hour class, then an hour, whatever. Okay, the last one for men. Very, 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 very powerful. If you follow me on Instagram and stuff, this is something I always do and fucking love, is cold water therapy. Whether it's a cold shower every day, or jumping in the ocean, whatever it is, some sort of cold water therapy or just cold therapy. Do you know they've even got these things out now? I saw it the other day. I can't remember what it's called, but it's basically a cold. It's a cup, like, and it you basically put it over your balls, and it's not red light therapy. It's like cold something anyway, and they ice your fucking balls for 15 minutes. You can actually buy this shit. I think it's like $200 or $300, and you get this cup, and it's got a whole thing, and you basically ice your balls. Apparently, for in terms of libido and in terms of your balls working and your semen and keeping all that type of stuff rocking, and your dick, it's like apparently unbelievable. It's so, you can Google it. Like, I don't know. You know what? Maybe I'll find it and I'll chuck it on the notes in the podcast, the notes. So yeah, guys. I reckon I've given you enough for one podcast. I mean, it's, you know, I don't want to go too. I could talk about this shit for hours on end, but we don't have hours and we're quite busy. But it's super important for being a man, and you know what? All these things, it's like, it's. I'm not being sexist, so I'm not saying that women can't do this stuff, but more so for men, because I'm talking generally. Men are definitely more prone to being stuck and stagnant, and that's just how it is. It's not being sexist or whatever, but it's just the way it is. It's the way our society has come up through the ranks. So for men, it's quite all these things that we've talked about. You know, get onto it. Like, if you heard something in this podcast that either pulled up a charge in you or triggered you, or where you went, you know what, that's really true for me, it's a good thing. And if you heard something in this podcast where you went, oh, I would love to do that, I just don't know how, like, come on, like, I'm just going to call you on your bullshit. As soon as you say you don't know how, we have so many things available to us these days. If you tell me you don't know how, like, I'm just calling fucking bullshit on that. So, and you know what? If you did hear something you don't know how, just text me on fucking Instagram or wherever the fuck. I'll promise you, I will write back to you. I will write back to you and tell you exactly what it is you need, where you need to go. And other than that, you know what? That was an honor to talk about this stuff, because I'm a man and I'm very passionate about other men stepping up and being powerful, and we just need it. And I think that, there's plenty of stuff out there for us guys to really get onto life and get rocking. And this is one of those podcasts where it was just an honor to get this information out to you. So thank you for listening. Feel free to touch base. And also, you know what, if you enjoyed this podcast, please, send it on to other men that might need to hear it, or maybe even other women. I know women would get a lot out of this as well, because they know how to fucking deal with us, us men. So yeah, feel free to share the podcast, and if you want to leave me a comment or something, feel free to do so. Subscribe to the channel. I love you guys, and I hope you have a really, really cool week. And I'm going to sign off exactly how I always do, which is fucking love your guts. See you guys. Love ya.